Hi, it's Fiona from the Cook in the Hat up in our kitchen in the Perth Hills, and today I'm going to show you how to prepare your ham to get ready to glaze it for Christmas lunch. So we're going to show you how to use one of our beautiful glazes to decorate this ham. So when you get your ham, it's obviously going to come in some sort of packaging and you're going to remove that out of it. Now if you're buying one from a store, just be aware that there is a plastic piece here covering the bone that you'll want to remove, and also the plastic bit at the top where the knuckle is, and you need to remove both of those items. So then we're going to move on to possibly the most important part of glazing the ham, and that's removing the skin here. So when we are doing this, what we want to do is we want to get a little sharp knife, and we're going to come as close as possible to that rind as we can, and so that we're leaving as much fat as we can on the actual ham. Now don't worry, for those of you that are concerned about it being fat, this is good fat, and that fat is actually going to render down as the ham is cooking and the glaze is doing its magic on the ham. So what I'm wanting you to do here is we're just teasing this away. So as I just said, we're just going to go just gently here, and don't rush this process, because this is the important process. And you're just gently folding it back, teasing it away. It can be, sometimes the rind can actually be a little bit thicker and heavier, and if that's the case, you can actually take your scissors and take a little cut into here like this, and then just work one piece at a time. But I guess because I've been doing this for a while now, I can pretty much do it in one piece. So as we're getting further down now, this is getting a little bit tighter, so I am actually going to cut the rind up here, just so that I can work on the this piece here, because I've taken a little bit more fat than I would have liked. And just keep working that away. We're also coming down to the knuckle bit here. Now there are a couple of different ways that you can actually work on this knuckle piece here. You know, the traditional way is that you can do a zigzag in here like such, and then take that out, or you can just do a round cut there, depending on whether you're going to be dressing it to put it on the table as a feature. It's totally up to you what you do. You know, be creative, let your juices flow. I'm actually just going to cut it today like that. So I'm just doing a cut around there, because I'm going to leave this part of the rind on. So I'm only going to take it to that point there. And just... So basically we're just scoring through the fat in lines going this way across the ham. And then we're going to come the other way and come back across. So I'm just going to do a little version of it here to show you how we've got our little crosses. So if we're looking here, we can see that we've now produced some diamonds. Can we see that? And then what we're going to do, we're going to get our little cloves. So that just gives you a bit of an idea on what that's actually going to look like, and it does look so pretty when it's all done. But we're not going to do this traditional ham today. I'm going to show you our spiced pomegranate and orange glazed ham today. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to pop the ham aside for a minute because I want to show you how to cut the orange, because you're going to need to do that at home. And it's really easy. So just give me 2 seconds while I push this out the way and get myself sorted with the orange. Okay, so for our orange glazed ham, what we're going to do is we're going to cut our oranges into this. So it's actually taking the rind off the orange and forming it into this little ring. And it is a very simple process. So we get our orange. Now the best thing to do for these oranges for this ham and oranges is to use a small orange. All right. So what you're going to do is you're just going to take the end and this end off your orange, and we're going to discard that. And then we're going to put our orange flat. And then you're going to turn your knife on I failed maths, so let's just say from that angle. And we're just going to go down like that. See how we're just taking the orange, the pith down, but leaving the actual orange. So we just keep going all the way around like that until we've got our orange peeled. And once we've got most of the pith off, or all of the pith off if we can, so that's sort of a bitter, we then turn it back over to here. Please put your fingers like this so that you don't cut them, and then we're just going to slice our oranges. Now you're going to hit some seeds, just keep going straight through that. You can deal with that afterwards. All the way through. And then when you come to your little pips, you can just dig your little seeds out. Like such. And then we've got our little orange rounds that we're going to use to decorate our ham and to make our ham look beautiful. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is actually move the ham onto the baking tray that we're going to be cooking the ham on, because the glazes are icky and sticky and gooey and yummy. Is that tray out of the picture? I'm just going to turn it a little bit this way, and just for this purpose I'm going to just pop something under here just to hold it. So what I want to show you now is how we're going to decorate it with the orange. So we're going to start by laying the oranges here, and as I suspect, the oranges are going to want to move. So the oranges will move a little bit, and just get a toothpick and just thread it through, just holding it into place. You don't have to do every single one, but it will just hold them so that they look pretty, especially when we're coming down to the side where they're definitely going to want to roll down. When we come back over here, and we overlap, and we start again. Now, it'd be smart if I moved them closer, wouldn't it? So how gorgeous is this actually looking now? Now I'm a couple of oranges short, but so what I'm really focusing on is making sure that I've got this part of it covered. Now I think I've for this half a ham I've used here 7 oranges, and I've just run out, so I've got a little bit here. I'm just going to turn it to show you. that's empty. But don't worry so much about this here, because we're going to do some little fancy decorating on the end to make that look pizzazz. But how gorgeous, how gorgeous. That's all I've got to say. Gorge, gorge, gorge. Now we are going to put the glaze onto the ham. So enter our little bottle of spiced pomegranate and orange glaze. So you're wanting to get your brush in there. So what is really important is that we're just dab, 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 dabbing. Okay, don't go stroke, stroke, because we don't want to move all these oranges right now. So we're just dabbing this on. You can obviously brush it down here, but where the oranges is, we just want to dab it, even dribble. Okay. Now I'm not going to tell you all the goodness that's in this glaze, but let me tell you, it has got some beautiful spice. Can we see inside here? Okay, so then the last thing we're going to do is just glaze across the front of the ham. So we're just going to put the glaze on the end of the ham. Now this is the important bit, because this is the bit that not everybody likes, but this is my favourite bit of the ham. It's the crunchy, crispy, gets little burnt bits on it, and the sugar and the spice and all those nice things that we've gone into putting here. This is the important part of the ham for me. It's like the crust on the end of a crunchy bread loaf. It's just okay. This girl is now ready for the oven, so let's put her in the oven. Okay, so it's been about 15 minutes now since the ham first went in, and what I didn't mention to you before, a really crucial part, is that the temperature is about 170. Okay, so I'm just going to pop the oven open. And we're going to bring her out over here, and we're going to get our glaze again, and we're just going to do some dab, dab, dab all over. And don't forget the front. Okay, so the other thing that I'm going to do at this point here is I'm actually now going to wrap the knuckle part of the ham just with some foil, and that's just going to stop it from coming apart anymore. And listen, yes, it is hot, but I do have asbestos hands, so you might need to put something on your hands. There we go. And now we're going to pop it back in the oven. The other thing that you need to also be aware of is that the ham is actually cured, which means that it's actually a form of cooking. So we're not actually cooking the ham. All we're doing with the glazing of the ham is actually just pushing some flavour down into the ham and just rendering all that fat and making it delicious and to look beautiful, and that is what that whole purpose is about. So we're not cooking it, so you don't need to cook it for hours at a time. That's why it's actually a simple process. You can do it on Christmas Eve, or you can do it the morning of Christmas Day. So we're just going to pop back over. and popping it back in the oven, and it's going to go for about another 15 minutes, and then by then we should start getting some really nice colour on the top of that ham. Now we don't want it to get too burnt or too dark because we still want to actually see the beautiful orange for this ham. So some of the other recipes that we've flavours that we've got on are our bourbon, our mango, maple, or our juniper with blackcurrant and vinacotto. These ones, some of them will go a bit darker, some of them will be a lighter look. They're not as in-depth as doing the oranges. That was just something fancy I wanted to do for you today. So those other hams are mostly just popping your glaze on. You can cross it like we showed at the beginning with your little put your little cloves in if you want to. That's just added flavour pushing down in, but you don't have to. You can just glaze it if you want with the glaze. So we're going to be back in a little minute. So welcome back. It's now been about 45 minutes. So we put our last lot of glaze on and we're about to take the ham out of the oven. Wow, just wow. Have a look at that. So now what we're going to do is we're actually going to move our ham onto the platter. Okay. Now comes the fun part. Now we're going to put on some flowers and a little bit of pizzazz, and I've got some hessian here, and I'm going to just take off the silver that we're protecting the knuckle with, and I'm taking that off, and we're going to just tie this piece of hessian around the end with some what is this brown stuff called? Rope. Can't even think of what it's called.
Twine?
Twine, thank you, Rob. So we're going to try up with some twine, and I've got some native flowers that I'm just going to get out of my little vase here, and we're going to put them on the end just so we've got that little bit of glitz and glam, because you know what, it looks spectacular, and everyone, the breath's going to be taken away when they see this ham come to the table. So here is our ham in all her glory. I mean, she is just stunning. The oranges are glistening, the little bit of native flowers and leaf at the end just to bring in the bush, because we're in the bush. And remember my favourite part, the end of the ham. It's beautiful, it's crispy, little burnt bits here. No one's getting that. That is mine. So there we go. Now we're ready to take it to the table and slice the ham. Are you ready? You just see all the juices running out of this ham. It is just so tender and so juicy. Oh my God, that's insane. If you've never eaten baked hot ham before, you're going to want to start this year. It's something amazing. the spice, the zing, it's just perfect. And the hint of the orange that's just leaping through there, it's just beautiful. Just beautiful. So, lunch is finished. Everybody's so full. They're asleep on the lounge chair and you've got the leftover ham. What are you going to do with it? Do not put cling film on it and put it in the fridge. That's a no-no. What we're going to do now is I'm going to show you how to treat your ham with some respect and keep it fresh. It'll last for a couple of weeks in the fridge. Trust me, you'll eat it long before then. So a ham bag, not a handbag, a ham bag. And in the bowl here, I've got some water and some vinegar, just white vinegar, and you want to soak it and you're going to wring that out. All right. This needs to be done every second day. Okay, so then we take our bowl of water away and we've got our ham bag. It also has the instructions on the front to tell you. And then we're going to tuck our baby away. Now, I like to have it so that I can open it in the night time when everyone's in bed and I can just cut that sneaky bit when everyone's asleep and they don't realize that there's ham missing. So I always put it knob in first, like that. And yes, it's wet, and that's actually going to help keep your ham nice and moist and juicy. And then you pop that in the fridge. And obviously the fridge is a dehydrator, so it's actually going to take all the moisture out of this, which is why every couple of days you take the bag off, you wash it just in the sink with some hot water, and then put some more fresh water and vinegar in there and put it back on your ham, if it lasts that long. But seriously, a ham with our glazes are not going to last very long in your house. So from our kitchen to your kitchen, have a wonderful Christmas and be safe, be merry and joyful. See you soon. Bye. Take the ham. I'm off. So I did forget to tell you that you don't have to just use our glazes on ham. You can marinate your chicken, your pork, even your vegetables in the glaze. Perfect across, because you know there's some left over and I'm just going to eat ham. Sorry. You know that crusty, look at that bit. Oh my God. Divine. Thank you.